Hi guys, it's Sophie. So for you guys who've watched for a little bit, you know that I'm a little bit of a stats nerd. I like to track my reading quite intently and I like to share sort of quarterly updates with you. So as we're nearing the end of March now, this is going to be my first quarter wrap up for 2016. So just as a real quick sort of a stats on a post-it note, I've read 61 books so far this year and I've completed 16 of the 24 Read Harder challenges. So I'm going to break it down into my graphs next. Okay, so the first category is going to be genre. They aren't the same categories I used last year, so they aren't directly comparable to my previous videos, but the large sort of light turquoisey blue area, that's fiction, and then the darker green area is non-fiction. Already read more non-fiction this year than I read in the whole of 2015, so that's brilliant. And then the rest of them are, you know, anything else really, so plays, poetry, horror, thriller, mystery, all those sorts of things, in lots of different sort of sections, some experimental fiction, some classics, all of those magical things. I'm fine with how my genres are shaping up so far this year, really enjoying having a bit more non-fiction in there. Probably won't continue at quite the same level going forward because I tend to dive in and out of it, but really liking it so far. And the next one is age group. So as you can see from the graph, the majority of what I'm reading is adult. Last year I think I had about 25% being sort of YA and children's, and this year I've got 15, which is, you know, where I would like it to be. I do read much more adult fiction than I used to, certainly a few years ago, and I do think I enjoy it more, so that's good, but I don't ever want to lose the children's and YAs, because I do enjoy reading those and seeing what there is in children's and young adult literature as well. Okay, so star rating. You may know that I fight with my stars, like I really fight with my stars, because I think I should have an average of 3. I think I should see a bell curve around 3, potentially slightly tapering off for 1s and 2s, and I haven't really been policing myself, and this is what my graph looks like again. And what I do is, when I finish reading a book, I want to give it a lower rating, but I kind of feel bad, and I know I don't, so I will go through and I will prune and I will take stars off when I think stars need to be taken off and add them on when I think they need to be added on. I definitely get a different perspective on my second look at my stars than I ever do when I've just rated them directly after reading them. And then page length, no real surprise here, I tend to gravitate towards slightly shorter novels, so sort of 200 to 300 pages is my comfortable range. Not to say I don't read longer books, but I read less of them. I think because I read sort of so many different things, I do enjoy shorter books that I can sort of dip in and out of rather than sort of epically long books, but that's not to say I haven't got a few longer ones in there this year. My years published is sort of broadly what I expected. It's what I've seen for the last couple of years running now, with the majority of what I'm reading being modern fiction. Again, that is kind of what I enjoy. I'm fine with that. I don't think I want to change anything about the spread of my sort of years published. So next is author gender. You might remember last year I fought really hard to get sort of a male-female balance, and I found it really difficult to get the females in there. I think I'm overcompensating now because the females are definitely higher than the males at the minute. I do want to address that. I like reading 50-50, so I think I will stop sort of choosing purposefully female authors for a little bit, which I know I've been in the habit of doing to try and, at the end of last year, get my balance right. So now I need to give it back to the guys a little bit. And the next one is author nationality. This one I'm really happy with. So if you remember last year, I had about 60% of what I was reading being from the United States, and it was really annoying me and it was something I wanted to change. It's still at sort of 30–40%, but it's much more equal to the UK, which is the other large section, with all the other countries making up the sort of scattering of other colours in the graph. I do want to keep reading widely and I do want to keep reading authors from lots of different countries, but I'm really glad to see that the US has taken at least sort of an equal role to the UK, which was my aim. I'm going to keep pressing on with UK authors and with authors from different nationalities to try and address the balance even more. I'd like to have sort of the US lower than 30%, ideally 25. And then I actually have a couple of new categories I didn't track last year but I thought would be interesting, and the first one is a really simplified version of author race. Yeah. So around 85% of the authors I'm reading are white, and everyone who isn't white is only fitting into that 15%. It's not good, is it? Obviously I'm trying to address that as I'm sort of reading, but there's a long way to go. I think a lot of the sort of translated fiction and things I'm reading anyway are coming from white authors, so that doesn't really help because I think that's a really good like goldmine for people of different values and cultures and ethnicities, and I'm not really using it as much as I should be. I'm not going to set aims or goals for that at the moment, just because I have never measured it before. I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I'm going to keep trying with my sort of people of colour in my reading, because it's pretty poor at the moment. And then the next new one is whether the author is new to me or not, so whether I've ever read anything of theirs previously. Because I think I read quite a lot of new authors, that's what my sort of hypothesis was, and the graph would show that yeah, around 75% of what I read is by an author that I've never read anything before. I like that, I enjoy that, I like having authors I've read before. Obviously it's a bit safer, but I think one of the things I enjoy about reading is bringing in new influences and new voices. And then the last one I've started tracking that's actually not gone how I expected it to. I thought I would see focus more, but what it is publishing house. So I'm trying to determine where I'm reading from most often. So Bloomsbury, Vintage, Penguin and Rhodes Publishing are the 4 sort of main categories in there, and the rest of them are all different kinds of publishers. I'm going to keep tracking throughout the year. Really interested to see how many different publishers I read from in 1 year, because I kind of assumed I'd gravitate to a few, but actually having started examining it, there are a fair amount of publishers I read from. So I think I've really got 3 things that I want to try and do for the next quarter. The first of which is equalising my gender balance, so bringing more male authors back into my field again. The second is trying to find more people of colour that are writing interesting fiction, things that I really enjoy, because I know they're out there, I'm just not finding them at the moment, so I think I need to put a bit of effort in to try and look for that. And then the last one is to try and control my stars, because I have such an issue with just being really nice after I've read a book. So those are my goals for the next 3 months. If you track your books in similar ways, let me know if you have any goals for your next quarter, and if not, then start tracking. It's wonderful, it's lovely, and it gives you a real sense of sort of achievement if you do meet those goals as you're going along. And it helps me to examine my reading throughout the year rather than just at the end when it's too late to do anything about it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon in my next one. Alright, bye bye.